Movie was kind of bland and not really funny, not really horror. It could have been so much better. I still liked it, but not the best. Movie starts off with this random dude getting killed off screen, blood splattering in typical horror movie fashion. Then these other two characters show up. They're mad because typical horror movie fashion, they think he's just being lazy and doing something else instead of his job. And then they find this thing, and one of them screams. His scream wasn't very good. It wasn't like the worst scream ever, but wasn't very convincing that he was scared. It was not very good. They died, aliens or whatever. They never actually really state what it is in the movie, but in like the description of the movie, they're supposed to be aliens or some shit. Start making these Black Friday shoppers violent. This happened during COVID, so they really don't have that many of them around. Instead of being a typical horror movie rip-off zombie thing, which a lot of movies do, where a lot of people in the horror genre think zombies are tired out. So they'll just do stuff that is basically zombies, but they won't be zombies. They might change up a little bit of it. It happens a lot in the horror genre. And I'm not even talking about when people make stuff that is clearly zombies, but they refuse to call them other stuff, like kind of like in The Last of Us, where they're called clickers and shit, but they're basically just zombies with, some way cooler stuff. Um, anyways, they end up like mutating together and looking like this bird thing. The practical cool effects and the makeup look really good for the creatures once they start mutating more. It was very creepy looking, but that was as far as it went. They didn't really do much scary. A lot of times it's literally just characters talking like nothing's happening. Like they're talking about what's happening. Like, oh, we need to get out of here, but they're not really trying to get out of there. They end up getting into a fight with one of the guys, which has really the only line that I remembered, um, where he calls him kid, and the dude says, "Don't call me a kid. You see me more than your actual kids." Like, damn, man. The characters are played by the dude that played Jax in the Mortal Kombat Legacy series. Um, Devon Sawa, who is obviously in Chucky and Final Destination, Idle Hands. He used to be a horror legend. He was in a lot of the early 90s and 2000s horror movies. Well, not early 90s, probably late 90s, early 2000s. Then he just kind of disappeared. Then Chucky brought him back and he started doing a lot more stuff. I really like seeing him in horror movies, but in this movie, he's kind of generic. I don't really care for him. And I don't think it's his fault because he plays a different character in every season of Chucky. And it feels like a different character. It doesn't feel like the same actor. They all feel really different, especially the new one in season 3, which I won't spoil since, this isn't about Chucky. Um, then also, Bruce Campbell. Um, I've never really seen Evil Dead, which is what he's most known for. I saw him in the Spider-Man movies and Doctor Strange 2. He's probably in other stuff I've seen that I just don't remember. He's okay here. He tries to sacrifice himself, decides against it. He's willing to sacrifice this other guy. Then he doesn't. He ends up sacrificing himself. It's just really weird. Then Archie was probably the coolest character, but he's like one of the first main characters to die, which he dies before this girl that I'm pretty sure is racist, who brings up her name's Ruthie. She's like, "Oh yeah, my first Black Friday, we separated people by colors." She just gave me a very odd feeling for most of her screen time, even before that line. Um, so she ends up dying by the cops of all things, because one of them like push a car through the window or something, and she just gets crushed by the car. I honestly forgot she even died in the movie. Eventually, I was like, "Oh wait, where's Ruthie?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, she died." Um, they try and tell you that Devon Sawa's character is supposedly like a guy that's trying to relive high school glory, which I guess I can kind of see with him skating around like he's a skateboarder, making jokes all the time, trying to give people advice on how to be better in the store, I guess. And eventually, when he is accused of being that, he calls him a nerd. But I don't really see it. I can kind of see it, but just not really. I don't think they really did anything with that. And there's this asshole character that basically sacrifices this guy because he wants to save his kids. It's really fucked up. He's like, oh, he was whining about his kids and how he wants to save them. Of course he is. What the fuck? So he bit like a piece of his skin off to make him think he was infected, so he would stay behind. So he admits to it for whatever reason. He gets punched and they rightfully fight him for a little bit. He gets in the dumpster. She calls him trash. Eventually, he has a change of heart and thinks he can speak to the monster because he worked at a store during Black Friday. He starts talking about all the fun times he's had at Black Friday. It's so fucking weird. Then eventually, he just gets like flicked by the monster. No blood, no nothing. Very unsatisfying death for an asshole character. The one kid uses a forklift because he mentioned earlier in the movie how useless forklifts are, but it kills the monster. So hilarious! It's not actually useless. Then the movie ends with them driving a car away and another monster watching them, and him promising to get them pancakes because of a throwaway line once again in the beginning of the movie. Um, though he does mention it halfway through the movie. Like he mentions it in the beginning, halfway through, and near the end. Just one time every time. It's very weird. Um, I guess it's a happy ending. I have no doubt that that creature probably killed him like right after because it has that white thing that grabs him. Um, so yeah, I really don't think they survived, but I guess it's kind of a happy ending. And yeah, that's it. Oh, also I don't know if I mentioned, I probably did, but the one nerdy character, germaphobe, whatever, um, is the dude that was in Goosebumps. So that was kind of cool.